Everybody wants the glow up, but not everybody wants the prep work. You can't expect to take off if your runway is cluttered. This episode is about laying the foundation so when it's time for your liftoff, you actually soar. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Pretty Aligned podcast, the space where we shift perspectives, reframe the way we think, and step into alignment with who we're truly meant to be. I'm your host, Octavia Darling, and every week we'll have real conversations that help you reset your mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a life that feels good from the inside out. So grab your coffee, tea, your journal, or just your open mind, and get ready to receive. Let's get into it. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you intentionally prepare yourself for it. Now let's use meal prepping for example. My week runs much smoother when I prep my food because I don't have to think about what I want to eat or spend time cooking or even spending unnecessary money on takeout every day. The same applies to life. When you prep your mindset, opportunities flow easier. Now, a great tip is for you to treat your preparation as an act of self-love, not punishment. You can't take off if your runway is blocked with fear, clutter, or limiting beliefs. It's like when you're packing for a trip. You can't bring everything in your closet. So what happens? You end up being more intentional and mindful of what should come with you to your next destination. You get to let go of old baggage to make space for what you actually need. Something that I often like to share with my clients is what got you here won't get you there. In order to glow up, you have to be willing to let go of what no longer serves you. You can't bring the baggage that held you down up to this point. You can't have the same scarcity mindset. You can't even let fear stop you from progressing. You get to make a choice, okay? You get to start fresh and take a different path. You get to show up as the version of yourself that belongs there. And you also get to attract the abundance that is your birthright. So what I want you to do right now is a quick runway check in your own life. What distractions or habits need to be cleared before you move forward? Just like a car or plane needs fuel, you need energy, clarity, and confidence. Preparation is all about filling yourself with the right things. Would you start a long road trip on E? Or would you go to the gas station to fill up your tank? You would fill it up, right? See, many of us try to start new seasons of our life without fueling our mind and spirit. The next step I want you to take is to create a fuel list. This can include affirmations, books, rest, podcasts, hint, hint, the Pretty Aligned podcast. That's a shameless plug for y'all. Or just things that pour into you. Now let's talk about how to map out the flight plan. You don't need the whole roadmap, but you do need direction. Preparation means knowing your why in your first few steps. It's just like using a GPS. You don't have to know every turn in advance. You just need to set a destination. You even have the option of choosing the fastest route. So how can you prepare yourself properly in order to reach your desired destination? Write down your next 3 action steps instead of overwhelming yourself with the entire journey. All right, let's turn up the heat a little and slide into the hot seat coaching segment where I coach through a situation that needs a serious reframe. Here's the scenario. I want to launch a business, but I feel overwhelmed by where to start. How do I prepare without getting stuck in planning mode forever? Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this scenario because it's so relatable. And even I experienced this for a long time until I had my mindset shift. Okay, so first and foremost, what you want to do is clear distractions, right? And by distractions, I mean that sometimes we can get so caught up in strategizing, in planning, that we find that to be a form of comfort, right? In our minds, by the fact that I'm strategizing and I'm mapping out my plans, I'm actually making moves. But the reality of it is that you only make moves when you're taking action, right? So if you want to launch a business, by all means, please create the strategy, because you definitely want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. What I'm more so saying is don't get stuck in the planning phase by thinking you're making moves, because that's not how it works. This is an opportunity for you to be more intentional with your time. For example, maybe you give yourself 1 week or 30 days, depending on the type of business that you're creating, on the strategy phase. So you want to create a timeline. The timeline is a visual aspect for you to see how much time am I dedicating to each portion of the process. The strategy phase can be 1 to 2 weeks, or it can be up to 30 days. However much time you want to invest in that phase, that is what you need to map out from the beginning. Then after you have the strategy, it's time to move on to the next step. What is the next step? Well, you tell me. You created the strategy. The next step just might be filing for your business to be legalized, right? Maybe you need to create that LLC, that sole proprietorship. Maybe you're creating a holdings company, whatever it is. That is the next step. Then the next step may be the website. Then the next step may be the logo. The next step may be your brand kit. The next step may be creating the social media pages. The next step may be developing the products or the services. You see what I'm saying? The key to the strategy, or the point to the strategy, is to have a guide on the actionable steps that you need to take. So this is a way that you hold yourself accountable by not being stuck in planning mode forever. Now, while you're in the planning mode, this is where you get to fuel yourself up with knowledge. Learn as much as you can, okay? But learn knowing and by leaving space for failure. Because remember, you're not striving to be perfect. You're just striving to start. You're just striving to take action. You're just striving to put out in the universe of the energy that you want to attract back to you, right? Because manifestation only happens when you're in motion. So imagine if you're planning and strategizing for a year, you've made no motion. You're in your head, and you have to get out of your head and take the action, okay? So start by taking small, actionable steps. And that way, you're not stuck, but you're at the point where, oh my gosh, every step that I take is closer to me launching my business. And if you want to go a little step further, remember, I coach. I coach creative entrepreneurs on how to align with their purpose to create an authentic brand. I have a community of like-minded women who are in or have been in the same position that you're in. I have so many fundamental tools on my website that you can use as a guide to help you through this process. And if you want to even go even further, I can be your coach. I offer one-on-one coaching opportunities. So again, you're never stuck. The way to not be that is by staying in motion. All right, love, that wraps up today's hot seat coaching. But now it's your turn. What's going on in your world that needs a reframe? I encourage you to send your scenario to me, and I just might coach you on the podcast. The link to the submission form is listed in the show notes. Now here's a little note to self and you. Keep in mind, preparation takes patience, but it positions you for success. Don't rush the season. You're building the foundation. Think about it like this: NASA doesn't launch rockets overnight. There are checks, tests, and timing. Even if they end up launching and it fails, guess what? They go back to the drawing board and review checks, tests, and timing. They prepare for the next launch. If you try to rush it, the entire thing could fail. Same with your growth. So embrace preparation as proof that your liftoff moment is near. My loves, the community is growing, and I welcome you to join, if you haven't already, the Pretty Aligned community where like-minded individuals connect, receive valuable resources, and live monthly group coaching sessions from yours truly, Coach Darling. Oh, that one was a little drag. What is that? I'm not editing that one out. This is what y'all get, okay? And if you didn't know, I also offer one-on-one coaching opportunities for creative entrepreneurs. On January 1st, I am launching a 6-week coaching program that will teach you how to align your purpose and create an authentic brand. And if this sounds like you, I encourage you to definitely take action because slots are limited, okay? And I definitely want you to have the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful coaching program. All of this information is listed in the show notes. So if you enjoyed this episode, then please leave a positive rating and review. Thank you for hanging out with me today on the Pretty Aligned podcast. Y'all, we have one more episode for this season, and I am so excited for it to drop. I hope something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective or a new way to see yourself. Remember, small shifts create big change. If you love today's conversation, share this with a friend who needs it and make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss the next reset. Until then, keep aligning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of you.